They call me a shark. The Titan. The man who turned the soil of Lagos into gold and built an empire that stretches across the Atlantic. My name is Dayo Adeleke, and if you read Forbes, you know that I don't tolerate incompetence. My life is a series of boardrooms, private jets, and aggressive negotiations. I'm used to people trembling when I walk into a room. I am used to women looking at me with dollar signs in their eyes, calculating how quickly they can secure a ring in a mansion. But today I was tired. My Gulfstream G650 touched down on the tarmac of Murtala Muhammad International Airport under the cover of a gray, rainy afternoon. The cabin was silent, save for the soft hum of the cooling engines. I rubbed my temples looking out at the wet concrete. I had been in New York for 3 months, fighting a hostile takeover that threatened to dismantle everything my father and I had built. I had won, of course. I always win. But the victory felt hollow. "Sir, your convoy is waiting at the private hangar," my personal assistant, Tund, said, adjusting his glasses. "The security team is on high alert." I sighed, unbuckling my seatbelt. "Cancel them, Tund." He froze. "Sir?" I said, "Cancel them. I don't want the sirens. I don't want the flashing lights. I don't want the limousine. I just want to get to the hotel, take a shower, and sleep for 10 hours before I face the board of directors tomorrow." "But sir, how will you get to the island?" "The traffic." "I'll take the staff car you arranged for the logistics team. The one picking up the junior auditors." "Is it here?" Tun looked terrified. "Yes, sir, but the driver isn't verified for a VIP of your status. It's a third-party contractor arranged by the local branch manager's secretary. It's likely just a regular rideshare or a family favor." "Perfect," I said, grabbing my leather duffel bag. I left my tailored suit jacket on the seat and rolled up the sleeves of my white shirt. I removed my Rolex, shoving it deep into my pocket. Today I am not Dayo Adeleke, the billionaire CEO. I am just a tired man who wants a quiet ride. I bypassed the VIP lounge, slipping out a side exit that the ground staff used. The humid air of Lagos hit me like a heavy blanket, thick, smelling of rain, exhaust, and roasted corn. It was the smell of home. It grounded me. I walked toward the pickup zone, scanning the crowd. Tund had said the driver would be holding a sign for Adeleke Enterprises Auditor. And there she was. She didn't look like a professional driver. She looked like a strong wind could blow her away. She was young, perhaps in her late 20s, wearing a faded Ankara dress that had seen better days, though it was neatly pressed. Her hair was pulled back in a simple bun, no wig, no expensive weave. She stood near a dented, dusty silver Toyota, holding a piece of cardboard with my company name handwritten in marker. But it was her face that stopped me. She looked exhausted. Not just tired from a lack of sleep, but weary in her soul. Her eyes were red-rimmed as if she had been crying moments before. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other, looking at the time on a cracked mobile phone. I approached her. "I'm the passenger." She jumped, nearly dropping the sign. When she looked at me, her eyes widened in panic. "Oh, sir. I am so sorry." She scrambled to open the back door, her hands shaking. "I didn't see you coming. I was worried I was at the wrong gate. Please forgive me." Her voice was soft, trembling with a fear that seemed disproportionate to the situation. Why was she so terrified? "It's fine," I said, my voice gruff. I tossed my bag into the backseat and climbed in. The interior of the car was clean but old. The upholstery was worn, and there was a scent of cheap air freshener trying to mask the smell of old age. She hurried to the driver's seat, fumbling with the keys. "My name is Amara, sir. I am filling in for my cousin Toke. She had an emergency." I leaned back, closing my eyes. I knew Toke. Or rather, I knew of her. Toke was the executive assistant to my regional manager. She was the one who was supposed to arrange this pickup. If this Toke had sent a substitute to pick up a corporate auditor, it showed a lack of professionalism. But I didn't care. I just wanted to move. "Just drive, Amara," I said. "The Eco Hotel." "Yes, sir." "Right away, sir." She merged into the chaotic Lagos traffic with surprising skill. For a while there was silence. I watched the city roll by, the hawkers selling gala and plantain chips in traffic, the yellow Danfo buses aggressively cutting lanes, the massive billboards advertising betting companies and Pentecostal churches. Then Amara's phone rang. It was connected to the car's Bluetooth, so the voice boomed through the speakers before she could scramble to turn it off. "Amara, you idiot. Have you picked him up yet?" The voice was shrill, harsh, and dripping with entitlement. I opened my eyes. Amara flinched, her grip tightening on the steering wheel. "Yes, Sister Toke. I have him. We are on the way. Good, the voice Toke snapped. Listen to me closely. Do not speak to him unless spoken to. You are a village girl and you embarrass me every time you open your mouth. This man is an auditor from headquarters. If he complains about anything, Amara, anything, I swear I will kick you and that baggage you carry out of my boy's quarter tonight. You will be homeless, do you hear me? My eyes narrowed. The coldness in the woman's voice was palpable. It wasn't just authority, it was cruelty. I hear you, Sister Toke, Amara whispered, tears welling in her eyes. I won't say a word. I promise. And don't ask him for money. Toke shrieked. I know you. Always begging because of your condition. If you tell him about the unborn baby, I will kill you myself. Nobody wants to hear about your mistakes. You are lucky I let you stay in my house after the father ran away and abandoned you. The car went silent as Amara frantically disconnected the Bluetooth, her hand shaking so badly she nearly swerved. The silence in the car was heavy, suffocating. I stared at the back of her head. I saw her shoulders shaking. She was crying silently, trying desperately to keep her composure for the auditor in the back seat. My heart, usually encased in the ice required to run a Fortune 500 company, felt a strange crack. Unborn baby. Abandoned. Homeless. I looked at her reflection in the rearview mirror. She was young, pregnant, and being terrorized by her own blood. This Toke person. She sounded like a monster. And Amara? She was clearly the poor relation, the one treated like a slave in exchange for a roof over her head. I had seen this dynamic before. I grew up with money, but my mother came from nothing. She had told me stories of how people treated her before she married my father. Stories of humiliation. Stories of tears swallowed in silence. Amara, I said. She stiffened, wiping her eyes quickly with the back of her hand. Yes, sir? I'm sorry about the noise. My phone, it malfunctioned. I apologize. Turn off the air conditioning, I said, testing her. Sir? It's too cold. And I'm hungry. Stop at that roadside cellar. I want roasted corn. She blinked, looking at me in the mirror. She probably expected me to yell at her, to report her to Toke. Instead, I was asking for street food. Roasted corn, sir? But, it is not hygienic for a man of your... I mean, are you telling me what to eat? No. No, sir. She quickly pulled over to the side of the road where an old woman was fanning coals over a wire mesh. 2 cobs, I commanded. 1 for me. 1 for you. Me? She turned around, genuinely shocked. Oh no, sir. I cannot. I am just the driver. You are pregnant, I said bluntly. And you look like you haven't eaten since morning. If you faint while driving, we both die. Get the corn. I handed her a crisp bill. She looked at the money, then at me, her eyes wide with confusion and a flicker of gratitude that broke my heart. Thank you, sir, she whispered. God bless you. When she got back in the car, chewing tentatively on the corn, the atmosphere shifted. The fear dissipated slightly, replaced by a confused comfort. Your cousin, I said, taking a bite of the pear that came with the corn. She works for Adeleke Enterprises? Yes, sir, Amara said, her voice sounding stronger now that she had some food in her system. Sister Toke is very important. She is the executive assistant to the big boss in the Lagos branch. She is very good at her job. She sounds charming, I said dryly. Amara hesitated. She has a lot of stress. She allows me to live in the boys' quarter behind her apartment. It is kind of her. Kind? I scoffed. She threatened to make you homeless because of a phone call. Amara gripped the wheel. It is my fault, sir. I have nowhere else to go. My parents passed away last year in the village. And when I found out I was with child, the man responsible vanished. He changed his number. I came to the city thinking Toke would help. She does help. She gives me a place to sleep. I just have to do chores and errands, like this one. So she sent you to do her job? I asked. She had an appointment, Amara said quickly. Too quickly. A very important hair appointment. I mean, a meeting. A personal meeting. I smirked. A hair appointment. Toke, the executive assistant, had pawned off an official company pickup to her pregnant, distressed cousin so she could go to the salon. This was the incompetence I hated. This was the corruption that rotted companies from the inside. But as I looked at Amara, I didn't feel anger toward the company. I felt a protective urge rising in my chest, a feeling I hadn't felt in years. This girl was carrying a child, fighting for survival, and maintaining her dignity despite being beaten down by words that cut deeper than knives. She was struggling, yet she defended the very person abusing her. She had a soft heart. A soft-hearted woman in a cold-hearted city. "What would you do," I asked quietly, "if you didn't have to live with her?" Amara's eyes softened as she looked at the road. "I used to dream of starting a small catering business. I love to cook. My mother taught me. I wanted to make enough money to raise my baby in peace. To not be a burden. To be free." Her voice trailed off on the word free. It hung in the air, fragile and beautiful. I looked out the window. We were approaching the Eco Hotel. Toke would be there. She had probably rushed over after her salon appointment to greet the auditor and take credit for the pickup. "Amara," I said. "Pull up to the front entrance." "Yes, sir." As we pulled into the grand driveway of the hotel, I saw a woman standing near the valet stand. She was wearing a tight red dress, fake designer sunglasses, and a weave that reached her waist. She was tapping her foot impatiently, checking her phone. It was Toke. I knew it instantly. She looked exactly like the type of person who would scream at a pregnant relative over Bluetooth. Amara stopped the car. Her hands were shaking again. "Please, sir," she whispered. "Don't tell her I stopped for corn. Don't tell her I spoke to you. She will put me on the street tonight." I didn't answer. I just opened my door. Toke rushed forward, pushing a bellboy out of the way. She plastered a fake, sugary smile on her face as she approached the back of the car. She didn't look at Amara. She looked only at me, or rather, at the man she thought was a mid-level auditor she could manipulate. "Welcome to Lagos," Toke chirped, her voice high-pitched and grating. "I hope my driver didn't bore you. She is very slow." I stepped out of the car. I stood up to my full height, 6'2", and adjusted my shirt cuffs. I didn't smile. Toke's smile faltered slightly when she saw my face. Perhaps I looked too authoritative for a simple auditor. Then Toke marched over to the driver's side. Amara had stepped out to open the trunk. "You are late," Toke hissed, loud enough for me to hear. She raised her hand and shoved Amara hard against the car door. "I told you to be quick. You useless girl. Look at this car, it's dusty. You have embarrassed me." Amara gasped, clutching her stomach protectively. "Sister, please." "Shut up." Toke raised her hand high, ready to deliver a slap across Amara's face right there in front of the hotel guests. "Maybe this will teach you some respect." The hand came down fast. But I was faster. I caught Toke's wrist in midair. My grip was like iron. Toke gasped, turning to look at me in shock and outrage. Excuse me? Sir? What are you doing? This is a family matter." I stared into her eyes, my voice low, dangerous, and carrying the weight of the billions I controlled. "If you touch her," I growled, "you will lose the hand." The silence that descended upon the Eco Hotel entrance was absolute. Even the doormen, usually busy blowing whistles and directing luxury cars, froze. They stared at the scene unfolding. A woman in a tight red dress, her hand raised in violence, captured mid-strike by a tall, imposing man in a rumpled white shirt. Toke tried to yank her hand back, but I didn't let go. I squeezed, just enough to let her know that her physical strength was nothing compared to mine. "Let go of me," Toke shrieked, her voice cracking. "Are you mad? Do you know who I am? I am Toke Balogun. I run the administrative arm of this region. Assault. This is assault." I released her wrist with a shove that sent her stumbling back in her high heels. She caught her balance against the dusty Toyota, clutching her wrist, her eyes blazing with fury. "You are Toke Balogun," I said, my voice calm but carrying a deadly edge. "The executive assistant who sends a pregnant woman to do her job so she can fix her weave." I glanced at her hair. It was immaculate. Freshly done. "And you," Toke spat, pointing a manicured finger at me, "you are just an auditor. A nobody sent from headquarters to count beans. How dare you touch me? I will have your job for this. I will call the HR director right now." Behind me, Amara was trembling. She moved closer to me not for protection but to plead. "Sir, please," she whispered, her voice shaking with terror. "Please just go inside. Don't make her angry. You don't understand. She is my only hope. If she kicks me out, I will kick you out." Toke screamed, turning her venom on her cousin. "You ungrateful wretch. You bring a stranger to attack me? In public? Consider yourself homeless, Amara. Don't even think about coming back to the boys' quarter to pack your rags. I will burn them." Amara let out a small, broken sob. She looked down at her stomach, her hands cradling the unborn baby as if trying to shield it from the venom in her cousin's voice. That gesture, That instinct to protect her child even when her own world was collapsing triggered something primal in me. I stepped between them. I turned my back on Toke, dismissing her existence entirely, and looked down at Amara. "Amara," I said gently. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "Sir, I have nowhere to go. The streets of Lagos are not safe at night. Please." "You are not going to the streets," I said. "And you are certainly not going back to that witch's house." I turned to the nearest bellboy. He was a young man watching with wide eyes. "You, come here." He rushed over. "Yes, sir." "Take this lady's bag from the trunk," I commanded, "and escort her to the executive lounge. Get her a bottle of water and a menu. She needs to eat." The bellboy hesitated, looking from me to Toke. Toke was fuming, her chest heaving. "Don't you dare move." Toke yelled at the boy. "I am a senior staff member of Adeleke Enterprises, the company that pays for the corporate suites here. I give the orders. This man is a fraud. He is probably sleeping with her." The accusation hung in the air, ugly and cheap. Amara gasped, covering her mouth. I laughed. It was a cold, dry sound. "Sleeping with her? You think everyone has a mind as filthy as yours?" I reached into my pocket. I realized I didn't have my wallet. It was in my duffel bag. I didn't have my black card on me. I looked like a regular man. That was why Toke felt so brave. She thought power was defined by the clothes you wore and the loudness of your voice. She didn't know that true power is quiet. "Toke," I said, turning back to face her. "You want to call HR? Go ahead. Call them. But while you are doing that, Amara is coming with me. She is my cousin." Toke argued, though her voice wavered slightly as she saw the look in my eyes. "She is my responsibility." "You forfeited that responsibility when you tried to slap her," I said. "Now, get out of my sight before I lose my temper." "I'm not going anywhere." Toke crossed her arms. "I am here to welcome the auditor. That is you, unfortunately. So I will wait while you check in, and then I will escort you to your room to ensure you are comfortable. That is protocol." She was trying to regain control. She wanted to prove she was the professional one, despite her outburst. She wanted to smooth things over so I wouldn't write a bad report. "I don't need an escort," I said. "I need you to leave." "I can't do that," she sneered, her confidence returning. "The regional manager, Mr. Okoro, insisted I welcome you. If I leave, I defy my boss. And unlike you, I respect authority." I rubbed my face. This woman was impossible. "Fine," I said. "Do what you want. Amara, come with me." I placed a hand on Amara's shoulder, guiding her toward the glass doors of the hotel. The air conditioning hit us, a welcome relief from the humidity and the heat of the argument. "Sir," Amara whispered as we walked across the marble floor of the lobby. "You are very kind, but you are making a mistake. Toke is powerful. She knows people. She can ruin your career." I almost smiled. "My career is very hard to ruin, Amara. Trust me." We reached the front desk. The receptionist, a poised woman named Chidinma, looked up. She didn't recognize me immediately. I usually entered through the VIP back entrance, surrounded by bodyguards. Today, I was just a tall man with a crying woman in a faded dress and a screeching harpy trailing behind us. "Good evening," Chidinma said, eyeing Toke, who was hovering aggressively behind me. "How may I help you?" "I need 2 rooms," I said. "Suites. On the penthouse floor." Toke let out a loud cackle. "Penthouse? Did you hear him? Chidinma, tell this auditor that his per diem only covers the standard room. He thinks he is the billionaire owner or something." Chidinma typed on her computer. "Sir, I need a credit card and ID for the penthouse suites. They are quite expensive." "I know," I said. "Put it on the Adeleke Enterprises corporate tab. The master account." Toke pushed forward, slamming her hand on the counter. "Absolutely not. I am the administrator for that account. I do not authorize a penthouse for a junior auditor and his charity case. Give him a standard room and throw her out." The lobby was getting quiet. Guests were watching. This was becoming a spectacle. I hated spectacles. "Toke," I said, my voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm going to give you one last chance to walk away. For your own sake." "Or what?" she challenged, getting in my face. "You will write me up? I will tell Mr. Okoro that you abused company funds. I will tell him you picked up a prostitute on the way from the airport." Amara flinched as if she had been slapped again. "Sister, please stop." That was it. The line was crossed. "Call Mr. Okoro," I said to Toke. She blinked. "What?" "Call him. Put him on speaker. Toke smirked. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I was suicidal. Oh, I will. And you will be on the next flight back to wherever you came from, fired and disgraced. She pulled out her expensive iPhone and dialed. The phone rang 3 times before a deep voice answered. Toke? Is everything all right? Did the auditor arrive? Sir. Toke cried, her voice instantly changing to a whine. It is terrible. The auditor arrived, but he is uncontrollable. He picked up a street girl on the way, brought her to the hotel, and is demanding 2 penthouse suites on the company account. He even assaulted me when I tried to stop him. He is drunk with power, sir. There was a pause on the line. He is demanding penthouse suites? Who is this man? What is his name? Toke froze. She looked at me. I actually didn't get his name. The manifest just said VIP auditor. She glared at me. What is your name, mister? Tell Mr. Okoro your name so he can fire you. I leaned over the counter. I looked at Toke, then I looked at the phone in her hand. Give me the phone, I said. No. Toke pulled it away. Put it on speaker, I commanded. And hold it up. She did, a smug look on her face. Go ahead. Dig your grave. I leaned in close to the phone. Okoro, I said. My voice was calm, authoritative, the voice that had commanded boardrooms in London, New York, and Dubai. Silence on the other end. Okoro, I repeated. It's Dayo. The silence stretched for 3 agonizing seconds. Toke looked confused. She didn't understand why her boss wasn't yelling yet. Then Mr. Okoro's voice came through the speaker, trembling, unrecognizable from the confident tone he had just used. Sir? Okoro stammered. Mr. Adeleke? Is that you, sir? Toke's face went slack. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked at the phone, then at me. Yes, Okoro, I said. It is me. I decided to come in early, and I decided to skip the fanfare. But it seems your executive assistant, Toke, has quite a lot to say about my accommodation preferences. And about the company I choose to keep. Oh my God, Okoro gasped. Sir, I had no idea. Toke, are you there? Toke was shaking. Visibly shaking. Her phone slipped in her sweaty palm. Sir? Mr. Okoro? You fool. Okoro roared through the speaker, so loud that the receptionist jumped. Do you know who you are talking to? That is Dayo Adeleke, the chairman, the owner, the CEO. Are you mad? Did you insult the chairman? Toke dropped the phone. It clattered onto the marble counter. The lobby was dead silent. Every eye was on me. I slowly picked up the phone. Okoro. Sir, I am so sorry. I will fire her immediately. I will come there myself. I am on my way. Relax, Okoro, I said. Don't come. I want to rest. But regarding Toke. I looked at her. She was pale, her knees knocking together. The arrogance was gone, replaced by pure, unadulterated horror. She looked like she was about to vomit. Please, Toke whispered, dropping to her knees right there in the lobby. She clasped her hands together. Sir, I didn't know. Please, have mercy. I have bills. I have a car note. Please. I looked at Amara. She was staring at me with wide, unbelieving eyes. She looked at the man she had shared roasted corn with, the man she thought was just a kind stranger. She realized that the audit sign she held was for the owner of the empire. Amara, I said softly. Yes, sir, she stammered. This woman, I pointed to Toke, who was sobbing on the floor. She said you were homeless. She said you had nowhere to go. Yes, sir. Well, I said, looking at Toke. It seems we have a vacancy. Toke, give me your access card. Sir? Toke looked up, tears smearing her makeup. Your company access card. And the keys to the company car you drove here. You are relieved of your duties, effective immediately. No. Please. Toke wailed, grabbing at my pant leg. I stepped back. Security. 2 large men in dark suits materialized from the corners of the lobby. They had been watching, waiting for a signal. They knew who I was. They had just been waiting for me to give the order. Remove this woman from the premises, I said cold-heartedly. She is disturbing the peace. Yes, Mr. Adeleke, the head of security said. He hauled Toke up by her arm. She screamed and begged as they dragged her toward the exit, her heels dragging on the floor, her threats of eviction turning into pleas for forgiveness. The automatic doors slid shut behind her, cutting off her wails. I turned back to the receptionist. Now, about those suites. Chidinma was typing furiously, her hands shaking. Yes, Mr. Adeleke. Immediately, Mr. Adeleke. The presidential suite is ready for you, and the executive suite for your guest. I turned to Amara. She looked like she was in shock. She swayed slightly. Amara? I reached out to steady her. She looked up at me, her eyes searching my face. You own everything? I own the building, I said with a small shrug. But right now, I am just a man who wants to make sure you and your baby are safe. Why? She asked, a tear slipping down her cheek. Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me. I looked at her, really looked at her. The struggling girl who offered to share her corn. The girl who took abuse to keep a roof over her head. Because, I said, my voice low, I know what it's like to be surrounded by sharks. And I think it's time you had a miracle. I offered her my arm. Shall we? She hesitated, then slowly, tentatively, looped her arm through mine. As we walked toward the golden elevators, I thought the drama was over for the night. I thought I had saved the damsel and punished the villain. But as the elevator doors closed, shutting us into the private quiet of the lift, Amara collapsed against me. Her skin was burning hot. Amara? I caught her before she hit the floor. She groaned, clutching her stomach. Pain? Sharp pain? I looked down. A spot of blood was blooming on her faded dress. The unborn baby. Panic, real and cold, seized my chest, terrifying me more than any hostile takeover ever could. Amara. I shouted, hitting the emergency button. Hold on. Do you hear me? Hold on. I have negotiated deals worth billions of dollars. I have stared down corrupt politicians and ruthless competitors without blinking. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the terror of holding Amara in my arms as the elevator descended, watching her face turn the color of ash. Stay with me, I commanded, my voice cracking. It wasn't a CEO's order, it was a desperate plea. Amara, open your eyes. The elevator doors pinged open at the lobby level. The staff, who had just witnessed me evict Toke, were still murmuring in small clusters. Their chatter died instantly when they saw me stride out, carrying Amara bridal style, her head lolling against my chest. Get the car. I roared, my voice echoing off the high ceilings. Now. The head of security, a massive man named Ikoyi, didn't ask questions. He sprinted toward the entrance. By the time I reached the driveway, the black SUV, my security detail's vehicle, was screeching to a halt. I didn't wait for the door to be opened. I pulled it open with one hand, sliding into the backseat with Amara still cradled in my lap. The nearest private hospital, I barked at the driver. Lagoon Hospitals. Move. As the car tore through the Victoria Island traffic, sirens blaring now, the sirens I had tried so hard to avoid earlier, I looked down at her. She looked so small. So fragile. Her hand was still protectively clutching her stomach, even in unconsciousness. You are not going to lose this baby, I whispered fiercely, brushing a stray lock of hair from her sweat-dampened forehead. I forbid it. It was a ridiculous thing to say. I couldn't command biology. I couldn't buy a miracle. For all my fortune in this moment I was powerless. And I hated it. The next 3 hours were a blur of white walls, the smell of antiseptic, and the hushed voices of nurses who recognized me but were too professional, or too scared, to ask for a selfie. I sat in the private waiting room, staring at the artwork on the wall without seeing it. My white shirt was stained with a speck of her blood. I hadn't changed. I hadn't called my board of directors. I hadn't even checked into the hotel. Mr. Adeleke? I stood up immediately. A doctor in a white coat, looking grave but calm, stood at the door. Doctor. How is she? She is stable, the doctor said. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. And the baby? The baby is a fighter, the doctor smiled faintly. There was a threat of miscarriage brought on by extreme stress, dehydration and malnutrition. But the bleeding has stopped. The heartbeat is strong. I closed my eyes, a wave of relief washing over me. Destiny had intervened. She needs rest, Mr. Adeleke, the doctor continued, his tone turning serious. Absolute bed rest. She is anemic. She has been running on fumes. Whatever environment she came from, it was killing her slowly. She cannot go back to any high-stress situation. If she does, she will lose the child. She won't go back, I said, my voice hard. I will handle it. Can I see her? She is sedated but waking up. Be gentle. The private room was dimly lit. The hum of the monitors was the only sound. Amara lay in the bed, looking cleaner and more peaceful than I had seen her yet. The hospital gown engulfed her small frame. An IV drip was connected to her arm, feeding fluids into her system. I pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. For the first time, I really looked at her features. High cheekbones, a soft jawline, and eyelashes that fanned out against her dark skin. She was beautiful. Not the manufactured, polished beauty of the women I usually dated, models and socialites who spent hours in front of mirrors. This was a raw, natural beauty that had been hidden under layers of worry and poverty. I felt a strange tightening in my chest. Why did I care this much? I told myself it was because of my mother. My mother, who had scrubbed floors so I could go to school. My mother, who had been humiliated by my father's wealthy relatives until she finally earned their respect. Amara stirred. Her eyelids fluttered, then opened. She looked around the room, confused, panic rising in her eyes until they landed on me. "Sir?" Her voice was a rasp. She tried to sit up. Profound. I gently pushed her shoulder back down. "Don't move. The doctor said you need to stay flat." "My baby." Her hands flew to her stomach. "Is fine," I assured her quickly. "The baby is fine. You're fine. You just fainted." She let out a sob of relief, tears leaking from the corners of her eyes into her hairline. "Thank God. Thank God." She looked at me, her eyes wide with wonder. "You brought me here? I wasn't going to leave you on the elevator floor." "But, the bill. This is a private room. I cannot pay for this. I have nothing. Toke has my bag, my ID." "Forget about the bill," I said. "And forget about Toke." "I can't," she whispered, looking away. "She is the only family I have in Lagos. If I can't stay with her, I'm truly homeless. I will have to go back to the village. But there is nothing there for me. Just memories of my parents and the shame of an unwed pregnancy." "Who is the father?" I asked. I hadn't meant to ask. It was personal. But the question slipped out. Amara bit her lip. "A man I thought loved me. He was charming. He worked in a bank. He promised we would get married. But when I told him I was pregnant, he changed. He said he wasn't ready. He said I was trying to trap him. He blocked my number. He moved houses. I haven't seen him in 6 months. Betrayed. Abandoned." I clenched my jaw. I hated men like that. Cowards who took what they wanted and left the wreckage for others to clean up. "You are not going back to the village," I said firmly. "And you are not going back to Toke." "Then where will I go?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I am a burden, sir. You have done too much already. You bought me corn. You defended me. You saved my baby. I cannot ask for more." "You aren't asking," I said. "I am offering." I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. "I have a house. A large estate in Ikoyi. It is empty. It's just me and the staff. It's too big for one man. There are guest wings that haven't been opened in years." Amara stared at me. "You want me to live with you?" "I want you to recover," I corrected. "The doctor said you need peace. You need good food. You need zero stress. You cannot get that on the street. You can stay in the guest wing. My housekeeper, Mama Nkechi, will take care of you. She loves babies. She's been nagging me to give her grandchildren for years. She will be delighted to have someone to fuss over." "Sir." Amara shook her head. "I don't understand." "What? People like you? Billionaires? You don't look at people like me. Why are you being my secret admirer? Or, my savior?" I looked down at my hands. "My mother was like you, Amara. She was poor. She was proud. And she was alone when she had me. She fought the world for me. When I look at you, I see her resilience. And I have the power to change your story. It would be a sin if I didn't use it." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes." She looked at me for a long moment. She was searching for a trap, for a catch. But she found none. Finally she nodded. "Yes, thank you." "Thank you, Mr. Adeleke." "Call me Dayo," I said. "When we are not in the boardroom, I am just Dayo." The next morning, the discharge process was swift. My influence cleared the paperwork in minutes. I didn't take her back to the hotel. It was too public, and after the scene with Toke, the paparazzi would be sniffing around. My convoy, the real one this time with the limousine and the security jeeps, was waiting at the hospital entrance. When the nurse wheeled Amara out, her eyes widened at the sight of the fleet. "This is yours?" she asked. "It is ours for today," I said. I helped her into the back of the customized Mercedes Maybach. The interior was lined with cream leather and smelled of expensive mahogany. As the car glided through the streets of Lagos toward Ikoyi, crossing the Lekki-Ikoyi link bridge, Amara pressed her face against the cool glass. "I have never been to this side of the island," she whispered. It's so beautiful. It's just concrete and water, I said, though I found myself seeing it differently through her eyes. We pulled up to the gates of my estate. The iron gates swung open, revealing a long driveway lined with palm trees leading to a massive white mansion. Amara gasped. Is this a hotel? This is home, I said. The staff was waiting on the steps. Mama Nkechi, a stout woman with a smile that could light up a room, bustled forward as soon as I helped Amara out of the car. Oga Dayo, she exclaimed. You are back. And who is this? Is this the guest you called about? This is Amara, I said. She is going to be staying with us for a while. She is family. I used the word deliberately. Family. Mama Nkechi didn't miss a beat. She saw the tired eyes, the pregnant belly, the cheap dress. She immediately went into mother hen mode. Oh, my daughter, Mama Nkechi cooed, taking Amara's arm gently. Look at you. You are too thin. Come inside. I have made pepper soup. Yam porridge. Fresh juice. We need to put some meat on those bones for the little one. Amara looked at me, overwhelmed by the warmth. Go, I nodded. Mama Nkechi is the boss of this house. Do what she says. As Amara was led away into the coolness of the mansion, looking like a princess entering her castle for the first time, I stood on the porch, watching her go. For the first time in months, the knot of tension in my shoulders loosened. I pulled out my phone to check my emails. I had neglected the business for almost 24 hours, a record for me. But before I could open my work email, a notification from a popular gossip blog popped up on my screen. Exclusive, Billionaire Dayo Adeleke caught in hotel brawl. Who is the mystery pregnant mistress? My blood ran cold. I clicked the link. There was a grainy photo taken by a guest in the Ikoyi hotel lobby. It showed me holding Toke's wrist with Amara standing behind me looking distressed. The caption read, Sources say the ruthless CEO assaulted a female staff member to defend his pregnant lover, a former village girl. Rumors are swirling that the baby is his heir. Is this the end of the Adeleke bachelor era? Or a scandalous affair gone wrong? I scrolled down to the comments. They were vicious. User 1, he got a village girl pregnant? Shame. User 2, that staff member he assaulted is Toke Balagan. She is a respectable woman. This CEO is a tyrant. My phone began to ring. It was the chairman of the board. I stared at the screen. Toke. It had to be her. She had gone to the blogs. She was trying to control the narrative. She was trying to shame Amara and destroy my reputation in one stroke. I looked toward the door where Amara had just disappeared, finally safe, finally smiling. You want a war, Toke? I whispered to the empty driveway, my voice dark. I will give you a war. I answered the phone. Good morning, Chairman. Yes, I saw it. No, don't worry. I am about to handle it. I walked back into the house, the heavy door clicking shut behind me. The sanctuary was safe for now, but the storm was gathering outside. And I would burn the whole city down before I let them touch her again. The next few days were a study in contrast. Outside the high walls of my Ikoyi estate, a hurricane was raging. Toke had not gone quietly. She had gone to the press, to the blogs, to anyone who would listen. She painted a vivid picture of a tyrannical CEO, me, who abused his power to humiliate a loyal, hard-working employee in favor of a loose woman he picked up on the street. But inside the walls? Inside, there was a peace I hadn't known in 20 years. I stood on the balcony of my home office, looking down into the garden. It was early evening. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the palm trees and the swimming pool that I rarely used. Down below, sitting in a wicker chair under the shade of a mango tree, was Amara. She looked different. The hollow look in her cheeks was filling out. Her skin, previously dull from stress and malnutrition, now had a rich, mahogany glow. She was wearing a loose, flowing kaftan that Mama Nkechi had bought for her, simple, elegant, and comfortable for her growing bump. Mama Nkechi was sitting next to her, shelling melon seeds and laughing raucously at something Amara said. I found myself smiling. A genuine smile. I couldn't remember the last time I had heard laughter in this house. It was usually just the click of laptop keys and the murmur of conference calls. Sir? I turned. Tund, my PA, was standing in the doorway looking nervous. He held a tablet like a shield. What is it, Tund? Is the stock down? Slightly, sir. The board is jittery. They are calling for a statement. Toke gave an interview to a radio station this morning. She claims she has proof of wrongful termination and harassment. I walked back to my desk and sat down, my leather chair creaking. Let her talk. She is digging her own grave. Does she know we have the CCTV footage from the hotel lobby? The footage of her raising her hand to a pregnant woman? We do, sir. But the legal team suggests we hold on to it until she files a suit. It's better for the power struggle. Fine. Let the sharks circle. I will deal with them when I am ready. I waved my hand dismissively. What about the other matter? Tund hesitated. You mean, the background check on Amara? Yes. I needed to know. I trusted my gut, but in my world, trust is a luxury. I needed to know if Amara was truly who she seemed, a victim of circumstance, or if there were skeletons that could hurt us both. It's clean, sir. Squeaky clean. She was a top student in her secondary school. She had a scholarship to university but had to drop out when her parents died in a car accident to take care of debts. She worked 3 jobs before moving to Lagos. She has no criminal record. No debt. Just bad luck. I nodded, a sense of relief washing over me. Unity between my heart and my head. She was real. And the father? I asked, my voice hardening. Tund swiped on the tablet. His name is Kunnel. A mid-level bank teller. He has a history of ghosting women. He's currently living in Surulere. He's in debt to some loan sharks. Keep an eye on him, I commanded. If he sneaks around, I want to know. Yes, sir. Tund left and I was alone again. My stomach rumbled. I realized I had skipped lunch. I walked downstairs, following the scent of food. Usually the chef prepared continental dishes, steaks, salads, pasta. But tonight the air smelled of spices, locust beans, and fried plantain. It smelled like my grandmother's kitchen in the village. I walked into the massive, stainless steel kitchen. The professional chef was nowhere to be seen. Instead, Amara was standing at the stove, stirring a large pot. She had a wrapper tied around her waist over her kaftan. What is happening here? I asked. Amara jumped, nearly dropping the spoon. She turned around, eyes wide. Oh, Mr. Dayo. I'm sorry. I told the chef to take a break. I needed to do something with my hands. I feel useless just sitting around. You are supposed to be resting, I reminded her, leaning against the marble island. I sat on a stool while I chopped the vegetables, she promised quickly. Mom and Kechi helped me. Please don't be angry. I walked over to the pot and peered inside. It was ifo riro, vegetable soup with dried fish and assorted meats. The aroma was intoxicating. I'm not angry, I said. I'm hungry. Amara blinked. You eat this kind of food? Mama and Kechi said you only eat Oyabo food. Mama and Kechi talks too much. I grabbed a spoon. Is it ready? Yes, sir. Just needs to simmer for 2 minutes. 10 minutes later, we were sitting at the small breakfast table in the kitchen. Not the grand dining table that seated 20. It was intimate. Just me, Amara, and 2 plates of steaming pounded yam and soup. I took the first bite. The flavors exploded in my mouth. Spicy, savory, perfect. It was healing. It tasted like memories I thought I had lost. This is incredible, I said, looking at her. Amara blushed, looking down at her plate. My mother taught me. She said the way to survive any hardship is to have a good meal in your belly. She was a wise woman. We ate in companionable silence for a while. Then Amara put down her fork. Dayo, she said softly, using my name as I had asked. I saw the news on my phone. About Toke. About the scandal. I stopped eating. You shouldn't be reading that trash. They are saying terrible things about you, she said, her voice full of distress. That you are a monster. That you ruined a career woman. It's my fault. I brought this trouble to your doorstep. Amara, look at me. She met my gaze. Her eyes were dark pools of worry. You didn't bring trouble, I said firmly. You revealed the rot that was already there. Toke was a liability. She was abusive. If I hadn't fired her for you, I would have fired her for something else eventually. You just accelerated the process. But your reputation. My reputation is built on results, I said. Not gossip. Let them talk. In a week they will find someone else to tear down. But while they are talking, you are safe. That is what matters. She reached across the table and, without thinking, placed her hand on mine. Her hand was warm, rough from work, but soft to the touch. Thank you, she whispered, for being my miracle. I looked at her hand on mine. I felt a spark, electric and undeniable. I hadn't been touched with genuine affection, without an agenda, in years. I turned my hand over and gently squeezed her fingers. We are in this together now, I said. You, me, and the baby. For a moment the air was charged. It wasn't just gratitude anymore. It was something deeper. A connection forged in the fire of crisis. I found myself wondering what it would be like to wake up to this every day. To come home to this warmth, this smell of good food, this woman who looked at me not as a billionaire but as a man. Suddenly, the intercom on the kitchen wall buzzed, shattering the moment. Amara pulled her hand back quickly. I sighed, standing up to press the button. Yes. Sir, it was the gate security. Sorry to disturb you. What is it, Musa? There is a man at the gate, sir. He is demanding to see Miss Amara. My blood ran cold. I looked at Amara. She had gone pale. Who is he? I asked into the intercom. He says his name is Kunal, sir. He says he is the father of the child. Amara gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Kunal? How does he know I am here? The blog, I said, a dark realization dawning on me. The blog said the pregnant mistress was at the Adeleke estate. He put two and two together. He says he wants to talk, the guard continued. He says he made a mistake. He is shouting, sir. He is creating a scene. I felt a surge of protective rage that nearly blinded me. The coward who abandoned her. The man who blocked her number when she needed him most. Now suddenly he shows up? Now that she is under the protection of a billionaire? Now that the blogs are calling the baby an heir? It wasn't love. It was greed. Amara, I said, turning to her. Do you want to see him? She was shaking her head violently. No, please. He hurt me. He told me to get rid of it. I don't want to see him. Good, I said. I pressed the button again. Musa. Yes, sir? Tell him to leave. Sir, he is insisting. He says he has rights. He says he will go to the press if we don't let him in. He says you have kidnapped his fiancée. Kidnapped. The audacity was breathtaking. Let him in, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Amara stood up, knocking her chair over. Dayo, no. He will cause trouble. Let him in, I repeated to the guard. But don't bring him to the house. Take him to the guest lodge at the edge of the property. I will meet him there. I turned to Amara. I walked over and placed my hands on her shoulders. She was trembling like a leaf. Go to your room, I commanded gently. Lock the door. Do not come out until I come for you. What are you going to do? She cried, clutching my shirt. Dayo, please, no violence. Toke said you were violent. Don't prove them right. I looked down at her. I won't be violent, Amara. Violence is for men who have no power. I have something much worse than fists. I kissed her forehead, a chaste, protective gesture that surprised us both. I have a checkbook, I whispered. And I have the truth. Let's see which one he really wants. I turned and walked out of the kitchen, buttoning my cuffs. The domestic peace was over. The shark was back. And Kunal was about to find out that swimming in my waters was a fatal mistake. As I walked across the dark lawn toward the guest lodge, I saw the headlights of the security jeep approaching. It stopped and a man stepped out. He was young, handsome in a flashy way, wearing a tight shirt and distressed jeans. He looked around the estate with hungry, covetous eyes. He looked at the manicured lawns, the fleet of cars in the distance, the sheer fortune surrounding him. He didn't look like a man here for his child. He looked like a man here for a payday. He saw me approaching and puffed out his chest, trying to look intimidated. Where is she? Kunal demanded, his voice echoing in the night air. Where is my wife? I stopped 5 feet away from him. I put my hands in my pockets. Wife? I asked coolly. Strange. My background check says you are single. And that you blocked her number 4 months ago. Kunal faltered but recovered quickly. That was a misunderstanding. We had a fight. Lover's fight. But you are keeping her here. You are the billionaire everyone is talking about. You think you can just take another man's woman because you have money? I think, I said, stepping closer, that you saw a blog post. You saw the word billionaire. You saw the word heir. And you did the math. You thought, if the baby is thought to be his, maybe I can get some hush money. Or maybe you thought, if she is living with a billionaire, she must be rich now. I love her. Kunal shouted, though his eyes darted nervously to my security guards standing in the shadows. I want my family back. And if you don't give her to me, I will tell the world that Dayo Adeleke stole my unborn child. I stared at him. I saw the greed. I saw the desperation. You want to tell the world? I asked softly. Yes. Unless. He paused, licking his lips. Unless we can come to an arrangement. There it was. The mask slipped. I smiled. It was a terrifying smile. An arrangement, I repeated. Excellent. I love arrangements. Step inside, Kunal. Let's talk business. I gestured to the door of the lodge. As Kunnel walked past me, a smirk on his face, thinking he had won, thinking he had hit the jackpot, I pulled my phone from my pocket. I texted Tund, "Get the legal team. And get the police commissioner on the line. I have an extortionist on my property." Kunnel walked into the room looking at the expensive furniture. He turned to me grinning. "So, how much is she worth to you?" I closed the door behind us. The lock clicked with a sound like a prison cell slamming shut. "Oh, Kunnel," I said, my voice dropping to a whisper. "You have no idea what you just walked into." The air in the guest lodge was thick with the scent of expensive leather and the sour stench of Kunnel's desperation. He sat on the edge of the velvet sofa, his leg bouncing nervously. He looked like a child who had snuck into a candy store, overwhelmed by the options but terrified of getting caught. I walked over to the minibar and poured myself a glass of water. I didn't offer him anything. "So," I said, turning to face him, "let's be clear. You are the father of Amara's unborn child. You are here because you want, what exactly?" Kunnel licked his lips. He looked at the crystal tumbler in my hand, then at the massive flat-screen TV on the wall. "I want justice. I want my rights. Amara is my fiancée. You can't just keep her here." "You blocked her number," I reminded him calmly. "You told her to get an abortion. You moved houses to avoid her." I was confused. Kunnel protested, his voice rising. "I was scared. But now I have had a revelation. I want to be a father. I want to raise my son." "It's a girl," I lied. Kunnel blinked. "Oh, a girl. Well, a daughter is a blessing too." He didn't care. He didn't even know the gender. "Cut the act, Kunnel," I said, sitting down in the armchair opposite him. I crossed my legs. "I know about the loan sharks in Surulere. I know you owe 4 million naira. I know they threatened to break your legs by next Friday." Kunnel froze. The color drained from his face. "How? Who told you that?" "I know everything," I said. "So let's skip the doting father's speech. You are here because you need money. You saw the blog post. You saw a golden ticket. How much?" Kunnel stared at me. He realized the game was up. His shoulders slumped and the fake outrage vanished, replaced by a greedy sneer. 10 million, he said. 10 million naira. Get. And I walk away. I will sign whatever you want. I will tell the blogs that I gave you my blessing. You can have her and the brat. I felt a surge of revulsion so strong I almost crushed the glass in my hand. He wasn't just selling his rights, he was selling human beings. Betrayed didn't cover what he was doing to Amara. This was a sale of flesh. 10 million, I repeated. To disappear? To never contact her again? Yes, Kunnel grinned, thinking he had won. And you have to pay off the loan shark separately. Consider it a dowry. And who told you she was here? I asked casually. How did you know to come to this specific gate? The blog post didn't list the address. Kunnel hesitated, then shrugged. Her cousin. Toke. She called me. She said Amara had hooked a big fish. She said if I came here and made a scene, you would pay me off to avoid the scandal. She said we could split the money. My jaw tightened. Toke. Of course. She was the architect of this entire nightmare. She had not only abused Amara but had now weaponized her ex-boyfriend to destroy her sanity, all for a cut of the extortion money. Toke sent you, I said. Interesting. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. It was recording. Kunnel's eyes widened. What are you doing? Documenting the transaction, I said. Now one last thing. Repeat what you just said. For the contract. I said for 10 million I will leave Amara alone. And Toke gets half. Perfect, I said. I tapped the screen and sent the audio file to the police commissioner, who was currently waiting in his car at the estate gate. Then I looked at Kunnel. You know, Kunnel, there is a flaw in your plan. What? He asked, standing up aggressively. Don't play games with me, billionaire. Do you have the money or not? The flaw, I said, standing up to meet him, towering over him, is that I don't pay extortionists. I put them in prison. What? The door to the lodge burst open. 4 uniformed police officers stormed in, guns drawn. The commissioner of police, a stern-faced man named CP Musa, walked in behind them. Colonel Adebayo. CP Musa barked. You are under arrest for extortion, conspiracy to commit blackmail, and trespassing. Kunnel shrieked. No. It was a negotiation. He offered me money. We heard the recording, the CP said, signaling his men. They grabbed Kunnel, slamming him against the wall to handcuff him. You admitted to conspiring with Toke Balogun to extort Mr. Adeleke. That is a felony. It was Toke. Kunnel screamed as they dragged him out, his bravado completely gone, replaced by the pathetic wailing of a coward. She made me do it. I don't want the money. Please, Amara. Amara. I watched them drag him out into the night. The flashing lights of the police van illuminated the driveway, blue and red lights, the colors of justice. Thank you, CP, I said, shaking the commissioner's hand. We will pick up the woman Toke within the hour, the CP promised. With this confession she is finished. She will be facing charges of conspiracy and attempted extortion. She won't be working in this city again. Good, I said. Make sure the press gets the mugshot. I walked back to the main house. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by a heavy exhaustion. I had won. The power struggle was over. But I still had one more battle to fight, the one for Amara's heart. I went upstairs to the guest wing. The hallway was quiet. I knocked softly on her door. Amara? Is he gone? Her voice was small, muffled by the door. Open the door, Amara. It's over. The lock clicked and the door creaked open. Amara stood there, her eyes red and puffy. She was hugging a pillow to her chest. She looked terrified, expecting to see Kunnel behind me, or expecting me to tell her that I had paid him off and now she owed me. I stepped inside and closed the door. He is gone, I said. The police took him. He tried to extort me. He admitted that Toke sent him. They are both going to jail. Amara gasped, dropping the pillow. Jail? Toke and Kunnel? Yes. They tried to sell you, Amara. Toke wanted a cut of the money she thought I would pay to make Kunnel go away. They conspired against you. She covered her mouth, a sob escaping her throat. The betrayal was absolute. Her own cousin. The father of her child. They had treated her like cattle. Her knees buckled. I was there in an instant, catching her before she hit the floor. I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight against my chest. I am so sorry, she sobbed into my shirt. I am so sorry I brought this darkness into your life. You should have left me at the airport. I am a curse. Stop it, I commanded, my voice fierce. I pulled back to look at her, my hands cupping her tear-streaked face. You are not a curse. You are the victim of wicked people. But they can't hurt you anymore. Do you hear me? I have destroyed them. Why? She searched my eyes, her breath hitching. Why go to these lengths for me? I am nobody. I am just a driver. The question hung in the air. What? I could have said it was charity. I could have said it was duty. But looking at her now, this resilient, beautiful woman who carried the weight of the world with such grace, I knew that wasn't the truth. Because, I said, my voice dropping to a whisper, I have spent 10 years building a fortune, building an empire. I have a private jet, a yacht, and a boardroom full of people who fear me. But until you sat in my kitchen and made me soup, I was homeless. Amara's eyes widened. Dayo? I was empty, I confessed. I came back to Lagos feeling like a ghost. And then I met you. You fought for your dignity when you had nothing. You defended the cousin who abused you. You showed me what soft-hearted strength looks like. You woke me up, Amara. I brushed my thumb over her cheekbone. I didn't do this for charity. I did it because I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay. Not just until the baby is born, but always. Amara stared at me, stunned silence filling the room. The only sound was the distant hum of the central air conditioning. You want me? She whispered as if the idea was impossible. I want us, I corrected. I want to be the father that baby deserves. And I want to be the man who makes you smile every day. She looked at me, fear warring with hope in her eyes. It was a lot to process. A miracle. A second chance. But the world. She stammered. The blogs. Your status. I am just. You are the woman who captured the heart of the shark of Lagos. I smiled crookedly. Let the world talk. They will only be talking about how jealous they are. Slowly, tentatively, Amara reached up and touched my face. Her hand was trembling. I have been so alone, she admitted. I was ready to give up. You will never be alone again, I promised. I leaned in. I didn't kiss her, not yet. It was too soon. Instead, I pressed my forehead against hers, a gesture of intimacy and protection. We stood there, breathing together, two broken people finding healing in the wreckage of the storm. Sir. The pounding on the door shattered the moment. It was Tund. Sir. Emergency. I pulled back, annoyance flashing through me. This had better be good, Tund. I opened the door. Tund was standing there, his face pale, holding his tablet. Sir, it's the board of directors, Tund said breathlessly. They saw the news about the arrest. They saw the statement about Toke. The stock is rallying. It's jumping. They are calling you a hero for exposing corruption within the company. That's the emergency? I asked dryly. Good news? No, sir, Tun swallowed. The emergency is your mother. I froze. My mother lived in London. She hadn't been to Nigeria in 5 years. What about her? She just landed, Tun said. She saw the blog posts about the pregnancy. She thinks you hid a grandchild from her. She is on her way here from the airport. And she is bringing your ex-fiancée Sheila with her. My blood ran cold. Sheila. The woman who broke my heart 5 years ago. The daughter of an oil tycoon. The woman my mother had always wanted me to marry. Sheila? I repeated. Yes, sir. Your mother gave an interview at Heathrow. She said she is coming to sort out this mess and ensure you marry a woman of proper pedigree. I looked back at Amara. She had heard everything. The hope that had just bloomed in her eyes was withering, replaced by the old insecurity. A woman of proper pedigree, Amara whispered. She looked down at her simple kaftan, then at her stomach. Don't, I said, stepping toward her. Amara, don't listen to that. Your mother is coming, she said, backing away. With your ex-fiancée. The woman you are supposed to be with. I decide who I am with. I roared, turning back to Tund. Close the gates. Don't let them in. Sir, it's your mother, Tund said helplessly. Security won't stop her. She owns shares. She has a key. At that moment, the sound of a car horn, loud, insistent, and familiar, echoed from the driveway. Amara looked at me, tears welling up again. It was a nice dream, Dayo. But reality is here. No, I grabbed her hand. This is our reality. You trust me? I want to, she cried. But you can fight extortionists. Can you fight your own mother? The front door downstairs slammed open. Dayo. A commanding female voice boomed through the house. Dayo. Where is this village girl who has bewitched my son? I tightened my grip on Amara's hand. The final test had arrived. It wasn't the police. It wasn't the ex-boyfriend. It was the matriarch. Stay here, I said to Amara. I will handle this. No, Amara said, a sudden spark of fire returning to her eyes, the same fire she had shown when she tried to protect her baby from Toke. She wiped her face. She stood up straighter. I am not hiding in the bedroom like a mistress, she said, her voice shaking but determined. If I am with you, then I am with you. Let's go downstairs. I looked at her, pride swelling in my chest. She was a queen. Okay, I said. Let's go. Hand in hand, we walked out of the room and toward the grand staircase, ready to face the boardroom of family politics. The marble staircase of my mansion felt like a precipice. On one side was the life I had built, cold, calculated, and lonely. On the other side, standing in the foyer with arms crossed and eyes blazing, was the ghost of my past and the architect of my family's expectations. My mother, Madame Adeleke, stood like a statue carved from granite. Beside her was Sheila. Sheila looked perfect as always. She wore a white designer pantsuit that cost more than Amara's entire village would earn in a year. Her hair was sleek, her makeup flawless, and her smile was sharp enough to cut glass. Dayo, my mother said, her voice echoing off the high ceiling. Are you going to introduce us? Or are you going to keep your guest hidden behind you like a frightened child? I squeezed Amara's hand. She is not hidden, Mama. And she is not a guest. We reached the bottom of the stairs. I felt Amara trembling, but she held her head high. This, I said, my voice steady, is Amara. Sheila let out a short, musical laugh. She stepped forward, looking Amara up and down with open disdain. Amara? Oh, honey. Is this the charity case the blogs are talking about? The driver? Sheila turned to my mother. Mama, look at her. She's wearing a kitchen apron under that kaftan. It's quaint. Did you hire a new cook, Dayo? Amara flinched. The insult was direct, designed to remind her of her place. Sheila, I warned, my voice dropping an octave. Watch your mouth. I am just being honest. Sheila threw her hands up, the diamonds on her wrist catching the light. Dayo, look at us. Then look at this. You are a billionaire. You run an empire. You need a partner who understands the boardroom, not one who understands how to sweep it. My mother remained silent, her dark eyes fixed on Amara. She was the real judge here. Sheila was just the noise. Amara took a deep breath. She let go of my hand. Amara? I whispered. She stepped forward, alone. She didn't scream. She didn't fight back with insults. Instead, she did something that silenced the room. She knelt. In the traditional Yoruba greeting of respect for an elder, despite her pregnancy, she lowered herself gracefully to one knee before my mother. She ignored Sheila entirely. "Good evening, Ma," Amara said, her voice soft but clear. "My name is Amara. I have no pedigree. I have no fortune. But I have been raised to respect those who walk the path before me. I know you struggled to build this family, Ma. I know you fought battles I cannot imagine." She looked up, meeting my mother's gaze. "I am not here for your son's money. I am here because he saved me. And because, for the first time in my life, I feel safe. If that is a crime, then I am guilty." The room was dead silent. Sheila looked annoyed. "Oh, please. Spare us the Nollywood drama. Get up." "Shut up, Sheila," my mother snapped. Sheila froze. "Ma." My mother walked forward. She looked down at Amara. The granite expression on her face cracked, just a fraction. She looked at Amara's hands, rough from work. She looked at her face, clean of makeup, open and honest. "You are pregnant," my mother stated. "Yes, Ma." "And the child?" "Is innocent," Amara said fiercely, her hand going to her bump. "And will be loved." My mother sighed. It was a long, heavy sound. She reached out a hand. "Stand up, my daughter." Amara took her hand and stood. "Mama?" Sheila gasped. "You can't be serious. She is a nobody." My mother turned on Sheila with a ferocity that made me step back. "She is a nobody? And who are you, Sheila? The daughter of a rich man? What have you ever built? What have you ever suffered for?" My mother pointed at me. "When the market crashed 5 years ago and Dayo nearly lost his mind, where were you, Sheila? You were in Paris. You stopped answering his calls because you were afraid the fortune would dry up. You are a fair-weather wife. I don't want a fair-weather wife for my son. I want a rock." She looked back at Amara. "This girl, she has the eyes of a survivor. She reminds me of myself before the money came." My mother leaned in and sniffed the air. A small smile touched her lips. "Is that Ifo Riro I smell?" Amara blinked, stunned by the shift in the atmosphere. "Why, yes, Ma. I made it." "With locust beans?" "Yes, Ma. Plenty of IRU." My mother nodded, a decisive glint in her eye. "Sheila, you can leave. My driver will take you back to the airport." But Mama." Sheila stomped her foot, her mask of perfection crumbling into a tantrum. "You promised? You said we would fix this." "I am fixing it," my mother said calmly. "I am removing the weeds so the flower can grow. Get out." Sheila looked at me, hoping for a reprieve. I just pointed to the door. "You heard her. Goodbye, Sheila." With a scream of frustration, Sheila stormed out, her heels clicking angrily on the marble until the heavy front door slammed shut behind her. Unity was restored. My mother turned to Amara. "Now, I am hungry. And if that soup is as good as it smells, we might just get along." Amara smiled, tears of relief streaming down her face. "It is very good, Ma. Come." As they walked toward the kitchen, my mother fussing over Amara and asking about the baby, I stood in the foyer alone. I looked at the closed door where Sheila had left, and then at the kitchen where my future was unfolding. I had spent my life chasing the wrong things. Deals, stocks, status. I thought I needed a queen to match my kingdom. I didn't realize that a true queen isn't born in a palace. She is forged in the fire of life. I walked into the kitchen to join my family. 6 months later. The bells of the Cathedral Church of Christ in Marina rang out, pealing joyfully across the Lagos skyline. The church was packed. Not just with billionaires, politicians and business partners, but with ordinary people too. The staff of the Ikoyi Hotel were there. The bellboy who had helped Amara was there, now wearing a suit I had bought him. I stood at the altar, adjusting my traditional Aso oak cap. I was nervous. More nervous than I had ever been for a merger. The organ music swelled. The doors opened. And there she was, Amara. She wasn't wearing the faded Ankara dress anymore. She was draped in white lace and silver beads, a vision of destiny fulfilled. She walked down the aisle, her arm linked with my mother's, because Amara had no father to walk her, and my mother had insisted on the honor. They walked slowly. Amara had given birth 2 months ago, but she still glowed with that new mother radiance. As she reached the altar, my mother kissed her cheek and placed her hand in mine. "Take care of her, Dayo," my mother whispered. "She is the best deal you ever made." We exchanged vows. I promised to love her, to honor her, and to never let her carry her burdens alone again. When I kissed her, the church erupted in cheers. It was a happy ending that the blogs would talk about for years, not as a scandal but as a fairy tale. The reception was held in the gardens of the estate. It was a night of music, laughter, and dancing. During the reception, Tun pulled me aside. "Sir," he said, handing me a glass of champagne. "Update on the legal proceedings." "Tell me," I said, watching Amara dance with my mother, the baby, little Ronk, named after her grandmother, sleeping peacefully in a bassinet nearby. "Toke pleaded guilty," Tun said. "She gave up everyone to get a reduced sentence. She admitted to fraud, embezzlement of company funds, and the conspiracy with Kunnel. She got 5 years. She will be in Kirikiri prison until her weave rots." "And Kunnel?" "He tried to run. The loan sharks found him before the police did. Let's just say, he has 2 broken legs and is currently in police custody in the hospital. He won't be walking or blackmailing anyone for a very long time." "Justice. Swift and cold." I nodded. "Good. Close the file, Tund. It's over." I walked back to the dance floor. Amara saw me coming and broke into a smile that outshone the spotlights. "Mr. Adeleke," she teased, wrapping her arms around my neck. "You look serious." "I was just thinking," I said, pulling her close. "About that day at the airport." "The day I was late," she laughed. "The day I thought you were just an grumpy auditor." "The day you picked up the wrong man," I corrected. "No," she said softly, touching my face. "I think I picked up exactly the right man. It wasn't a mistake, Dayo. It was a miracle." I looked over at the bassinet where our daughters slept. I looked at my mother laughing with Mama Nkechi. I looked at the woman in my arms who had turned a house into a home. "You are right," I said, kissing her forehead. "It wasn't a mistake. It was destiny." The music swelled, a classic African love song. We swayed together under the stars, surrounded by fortune, not of money but of love. The struggling days were gone. The betrayal was forgotten. The healing was complete. Love had won. Thank you for watching The Royal Griot. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps us so much. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a drama. We want to know, do you think Toke deserved 5 years or should it have been longer? Let us know in the comments below.